The PM Benchmark Reading Assessment resources are designed to assist teachers to identify students' instructional and independent reading levels using unseen fiction and non-fiction texts. The resources allow teachers to identify the skills and strategies students use when reading unseen and meaningful texts, to assess students' fluency and phrasing when they read aloud, to assess student retelling strategies, and to determine student comprehension within and beyond the text. Each PM Benchmark Kit contains 46 fiction and non-fiction texts, a teacher's resource book, and a student record for each text.
The book that I want you to read for me today, Ollie, is called The Big Bike. And The Big Bike is a story about Zach and Tim. So in the story, we meet Zach and we meet Tim. And Zach wants to ride Tim's bike. So let's have a quick look at the pictures just to see what we think happens.
Before starting the assessment, choose a quiet area free from distractions and clearly explain to the student what is going to happen and why. Read the book title and the orientation to the student. The text used here is The Big Bike, a PM Yellow Level 7 title.
Just read this now to yourself.
The teacher reminds the student to look carefully at the pictures in the book. Making connections between the text and illustrations is an important reading strategy.
Good boy. Can you tell me what happened in the story?
Well, Zach wasn't letting Tim go on his bike, then he did let Tim have a turn and he could do it by himself.
Very good. I'm going to ask you to start reading for me now.
The Big Bike.
Good boy.
Tim went up and down the path on his big bike. Zach sat on the grass and looked at Tim. Can I ride your bike? Tim said. Zach? No, Zach said. Tim, you are too little to ride my bike. Please, Tim said. Zach, please, can I ride your bike?
Today.
No, Zach said. Tim, me bike, my bike is too big for you. You can ride your little bike. Zach looked at his little bike and he looked dark at Tim's big bike. Zach said to Tim, "You can help me ride your bike. You can walk walk with me." Tim got off his bike. "I will help you, Zach," he said. Zach went down the path on the big bike. Tim went down the path with Zach. Look at me, Tim shouted. "Zach and I can ride your big bike."
Perfect. Good boy. I'm just going to ask you some questions now.
Once the reading record is complete, the teacher asks the student some questions about the book. To ensure the student has understood the text, a series of literal, inferential, and applied knowledge comprehension questions are asked.
The first question is, who did the big bike belong to?
Zach.
Where did Tim ride his bike?
On the path.
Why didn't Tim want Zach to ride his bike?
Because he thought he was too little.
Why do you think Tim had a big bike?
Because he's big.
How did Tim help Zach learn to ride the big bike?
He let him have a try and hold it on and let him ride it.
Reading records provide a systematic procedure for observing students' reading behaviour. The information gained provides an accurate assessment of how students process continuous text, as well as identifying the students' strengths and weaknesses.
So at this point in the running record, I'm going to go through it. I'm going to tally the errors. So in the first line, the child made one self-correct. The child made another self-correct later on. As we come down through the error, through the text, we then have one error here. We have a self-correct here. We have an error here. Down here, we had one self-correct. And again, another error where I came in with a told. And in this instance here, we had another self-correct. Once we've done that with the running record, we can now go back and we can analyse the error or the self-correct that the child made in terms of whether they used meaning, whether they used structure, or whether the child used the visual information system.